Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign using the SFO mod for Warhammer 2. Let's go ahead and get in here, and this is as of mid-January 2020, so this is on the most recent Dark Elf Skaven DLC patch with the update to Total War Warhammer 2. And special thanks to Wes for sponsoring this campaign. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. Right now it's just $30 for 15 episodes. I'll try to keep it at that rate as long as I can. If we keep getting a ton of interest, though, I might have to bump it up just a little bit, maybe to $35 or something. But right now I can keep it at 30. And we are going to be running a couple of other campaigns at the same time. We are doing a High Elf campaign with Aletha Nar, and then after that, at some point, I believe we might be doing a Luther Harkin Vampire Coast campaign, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And we have dozens and dozens of other campaigns on the channel as well, so be sure to check all that out. We have at least one campaign and usually multiple campaigns for pretty much every faction. And we do a lot of League of Legends stuff too, if you're into that or not. We stream every night starting around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, going till about 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. So Wes gave me an option, which is always nice if people, you know, just have a few things in mind they'd like. He said I could do Fay Enchantress or a couple of different Wizardman options. And I figured we'd go ahead and do the Fay Enchantress. It's been a while since I've done Bretonnia, and they've made a lot of adjustments and changes to them, and balance changes and tweaks that I think have made them a little bit more appealing to me than they were in the past. So, Fay Enchantress, one of the more interesting Legendary Lords. I've never done her before, I don't believe. I think every time I've done it, I've done Leon Core, who is potentially stronger. He starts with all Knightly Vows unlocked, which is really strong, kind of in the early game. But I think they have buffed up Fay and possibly Alberic. And I could grab Raponce on here too, but Wes specifically wanted to see Fay Enchantress, so...
Demoiselle de Guerre! I protect Bretonnia.
I will never. I forgot about her until just now, but
you have the
anyways,
favor of
Faye, we start off with 5 extra peasants, which is really nice, kind of in the early game to help you get a little bit of a bigger army. And then the Grail Guardians do not require a Grail Vow. It's okay. You basically get one of these at still a steep price of like 650 gold, but at least it's not like in the thousands. And these are super, super strong. They're some of the strongest cav in the whole game. Huge armor-piercing damage, lots of armor. They have healing, unbreakable, silver shielded. They're just really, really good. So it's one of the better like starting units you can get, probably in the game. Honestly, they're very good. So she starts off with those. They give her plus 50 versus Wood Elves. I don't remember if that was always the case, but this just kind of ensures that they're going to be on your side early on. And casualty replenishment rate for knight units. Plus 25%, which is obviously going to be pretty huge. You get 10 extra chivalry for her personally, 3 untainted, plus 30 melee attack for peasant mob units, which is okay early on, but in general, peasant mobs are so terrible anyways. What? Well, go talk to Mommy. She'll change it for you, okay? Talk to Mommy? She'll change it for you, okay?
No.
She's looking kind of tired.
No.
Yeah, are you looking a little tired, Rory?
No.
She may or may not be a little sick. Is that right, Rory?
I don't want the doggy.
You don't want the doggy? Okay, well go talk to Mommy. She'll fix it for you, okay?
No, that's a busy one.
I can if you wait like 2 minutes, I'll go fix it for you while we're loading in, okay?
No.
We have Blessing of the Lady. On I don't remember if that's just her or if it's her entire army. That basically gives 20% physical resist, which is really nice. And then you cause fear, which is okay, and you get this this buff that you can use, which replenishes everyone on your team for a little bit. So, legendary, very hard. Let's go ahead and get in here, and we'll talk about more of the mechanics. And this is now, okay, let's, here, while this is loading in, let me convince her. Okay, Rory, go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. She's just kind of mad because she's probably feeling a little sick. She's been coughing, and she's just sort of tired. She's just not feeling good today. But my wife's wrangling her and getting her under control in there. Anyways, okay, so the main thing with Bretonnia, if you haven't played Bretonnia before, is you're working towards this, what do they call it, the chivalry kind of currency. And if you get so much chivalry, that's how you win the game. That's your win con, and you get it through winning different battles, occupying towns, building certain things. Basically just doing stuff that you would normally do to take over the game with most factions, but you have to choose if you want to spend it or not on things also. So doing things like sacking, raiding, stuff that could be unchivalrous, you know, in quotes there, does cost you chivalry. So it does slow down your progression to win the game. So if you're trying to win as fast as possible, you really have to measure up just, you know, how often you're going to be doing those things. And they added in with the SFO mod here, which I'll have a link in the description. If you've never used this mod, it's really awesome. They did nerf magic a good chunk on the most recent patch, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but honestly, after playing through the High Elf campaign, it's okay. I mean, magic is still really strong, but there are other ways that you can win the game anyways without the magic, so it's fine. It's still usable, it's still okay. It'll probably affect the Fay Enchantress and, you know, wizards like that just because they're so heavily, like, balanced around their magic, but it'll still be pretty good. It just makes the game a little bit harder. But one thing that they did add in here, which I was just about to say, is the knights themselves cost chivalry. I don't think they did in the original game. I don't think they did. But now, now they do. So you have to kind of measure out how many knights you're going to use. Because the knights will cost you chivalry, which is your win condition. And then the peasant unit, so basically anything that's not a knight, is going to cost you towards your peasantry economy here. Which you get peasants by every capital gives you 8, and then every small town gives you 2. So you have to take over a bunch of property, and you get peasants. And you can use those to put peasants in your army, but you can also use those to build fields, which are really cost-efficient buildings that give you a lot of gold. Gives you growth and gold. So they have really, really good money buildings with the fields and the weaving house. The weaving house does not cost any peasants, but you do lose 1 public order every time you upgrade it. So it's kind of tricky. It's like, do you want to use your public order, or do you want to use some of your peasants? Do you want to use your peasants in an army, or do you want to use your knights, you know, in your army? And you have, with each one of these, you have different cap system too if you enable that on SFO. So there's a certain limit on how many Royal Hippogriff Knights you can have, for example. So in addition to costing 5 chivalry, it's also going to be limited by the cap system there. So you can start off only recruiting 2 of them, and then for each one of these Royal Menageries you have, you can recruit 1 more. So it's a little more complicated than the base game. There's a lot of min-maxing, lots of good decisions. But if you like strategy games, I think it makes it a lot better. Okay.
I have seen your heart.
So what we're going to do here is there's a couple of choices here with Fay Enchantress, and I think each one of the other lords gets this too. There's a greenskin incursion event early on, and before I've just gone and immediately killed the greenskins out of it. But I think, honestly, and it's going to be a little bit slower in the first couple of turns, but, let me see here. I think we'll just go with the weaving house. This gives you more money up front, and I don't care about losing the control early on. I'd rather just have another unit in my peasant economy. So we're going to go for that. And then we're going to... You do start off with a beast sorceress, and you get Fay Enchantress. And we'll walk through some of her stuff here in a second. This first turn is going to take a little bit... Oh, crap, I didn't mean to move there. I don't guess it matters, though. Control...
I will come to your aid.
Guess we'll just sit in that stance, and then we'll come here.
My magic is yours. My lady, honor me.
I'm not sure if it's should let us recruit also. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do 4 archers. Might be a little bit much, but you'll see what we're gonna do here in a little bit. We're basically gonna be rushing the battle pilgrims as fast as possible, and then complement those with knights. The main thing that I think early on is gonna be strong is getting to either some of these knights errant or knights of the realm, and then you have to be able to cut down any spears they have. If you can handle the spears, you'll probably be able to win. And especially against Bretonians, these battle pilgrims are really nice. They're only 200 gold. They do count as peasants, but they're frenzied, unbreakable. A lot of earlier game units don't have great leadership for Bretonnia. That's something they're kind of known for. They only have 54 leadership there, and the peasant mob units only have 36, so they will break really easily. This also does give you the Grail Reliquy, which gives everybody 15 extra leadership, which the pilgrims are already unbreakable, but this will help out with your archers. It'll help out with any knights that you have. Makes people immune to psychology as well, so they won't get terrored. And then it does have a buff here that gives physical resist and melee defense for 60 seconds that you can activate once per battle. So it's really nice to have one of those in your army. So that's what we're going to be going for. Just a combination of battle pilgrims just to carve up any spears that they have. And we'll be getting some upgrades for those too. And then getting some knights in there as well. Okay, and then as far as she goes, we'll walk through her skills a little bit more later because this is going to be a busy episode. But you get 3 different choices for how you want to finish your, whatever they call it, your vow. So I think the Pledge to Chivalry, just ranking up 5 times, is the easiest thing. You can do Pledge to Order, be present in a region 5 times when a building completes. So if you build like 5 buildings, I think that would count. Or research 5 techs. Now, you might be able to just build a farm like 5 times and delete it. I'm not sure. I haven't tried to do that sort of gamesmanship before with it, but we're going to get this completed in time to get the Knights Errant and the Knights of the Realm anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter too much. So we'll just do it the normal way. We won't do it the exploitative way. I'm not even sure if that works, but it could work. But I think that's probably the fastest way to do it. So we just have to level up 5 times, which we're going to be leveling up a lot early on. Tech-wise, you have several different options here. Early on, I highly recommend that you go for Confederations, because I figured this out. I did a little trial run for like 20 minutes just trying out opening gambits, and if you ever declare war on a Bretonian faction, like I declared war on Paravon, you get like negative 150 chivalry or something, so it's really pretty brutal, which creates all sorts of penalties. So like right now, if you go positive chivalry, you get like you know, +2 leadership, and a couple of, that's basically all you get for 0 to 400. Then as you go up this chain, you get a little bit more, +4 leadership, extra ranks on things, capacity, extra capacity, leadership, ward recruit rank, and you can do this like summon a green knight so many times per battle when you're defending. Call upon the Green Knight. Oh, I guess you can pull it in when you're defending anywhere for 180 seconds. But you might be able to call upon him. I'm going to have to see how they've reworked that. Beforehand, you used to call upon him for like 20 seconds or 20 turns or something, once per chivalry level. But either way, you try to move your chivalry bar all the way up here, and then you get to fight like the end game fight. Okay, but if you go negative, then it starts getting bad. You lose -5 control and -10 leadership on everybody, so you really don't want to go negative.
Who calls me hence?
Okay. So we're hiring stuff. We got that. Oh, tech-wise, we're going to try to go down to here, so we can eventually, you have to have that to be able to confederate with Corone. So we want to try to get Leon Core as fast as possible. This stuff's pretty good down here, like the economic stuff you can get. There's a bunch of good things there. We'll talk about those later. You really just want to be able to confederate ASAP, so that's what we're going to be going for. And then over here, these are pretty good once you figure out who you really want to fight against. If we go against the Norskins, then we get extra chivalry every time we beat them, and we get extra stats there every time we beat them. So that's what we'll probably do. Like what I've done in the past is you try to confederate with Leon Core as fast as possible, and then you end up going for fighting the Norskins, and then you try to go on an excursion north and just slaughter all the Norskins that you can. And that way you can still be friendly with all of the other Bretonians, the High Elves, Empire, and all that stuff. They're going to love it that you're slaughtering Norskins, and so typically that'll build up a lot of favor with them. So that's kind of the general gist of what's up. Okay, here we're going to get really bad public order. So we can go for growth and replenishment, which is good. We can get upkeep control, which is pretty good. I mean, our army right now is 2,000, so that would be about 2,500 on just the upkeep reduction alone. or 250 rather, on the upkeep reduction alone. And then 5% from taxes is not much, like 25 gold. But we get like 275 gold per turn to run that one. And then, so that could be pretty good. The growth is nice. We're not in a super hurry for the growth. I think the money's the major thing. And then, I think the research rate could be a big deal too. That would save us like 4 turns worth of research potentially. And it does lower construction costs on buildings. So, might get that here in a little bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and just do the this right here. Okay, and I meant to go into Crusade Stance, but we'll do that next turn. Okay. And then as far as diplomacy goes, I'm gonna try to be friendly with these guys as much as I can. Non-aggro, sure.
Do you know who I am?
The lady grants you safe passage in these... If needs must.
Sure. We're gonna be fighting all the Varg guys. I'm not sure how I feel about Estalia. We don't have anything to trade, so we don't need a trade agreement right now, but...
You to the King's Glade.
Orders?
The elves should like us, though. But we'll wait a little bit, and then we can probably get them to pay us some money to do some diplomacy. Okay. So, remember, we're not going to upgrade this one because we're not building these units yet. Later on, we might move over and try to grab some foot squires, but for the most part, I think the battle pilgrims are just going to be our better bet, and that's who we're going to upgrade and really focus around early on. The halberds are very good, especially if we end up, but we're probably not going to fight Bretonnians early on. We'll see. It's probably going to be a bunch of Norskins where I think the battle pilgrims would be more useful. Although Norskins do have some large units that'll be a problem, so we'll get these later, but for now, I think we'll stick with this. I maybe should get rid of one peasant mob and then put in a farm. I didn't think about that, but I can't change that until next turn anyways. So I think we're going to be, like, basically there's going to be these greenskins that roll up, and like I said, in the past, I just immediately shut them up. But since you're waiting anyways for some of the diplomacy stuff to settle out and to upgrade into the battle pilgrims, then you can just kind of power farm some rebellions, which is not my favorite. I don't like doing that, but you really don't have any enemies that, like, are super easily accessible. And this does give you upkeep reduction, growth, and campaign movement range while you do this. So we'll probably finish them off in a little bit.
What do you seek?
But while we're just setting up here...
the lady gives you her blessing.
Oh, come on. Seriously? How did that take 9 movement? You want to get into this Crusade Stance if you can. It gives you 25% extra movement, and you can attack in that stance too. So it's actually really good for running down Beastmen. So really, like, you can't attack elves early. You are heavily discouraged from attacking Bretonnians, which means you can't come up here. The greenskins are right here, so you can try to rush for those if you want to. Your only other option is you can come down here and try to fight Billiby, Magrita, Skaven, Beastmen, and stuff like that. And we will do that some, but we're going to need some better units before we step up to that, I think. So we're going to get rid of one of these peasant mobs.
I protect Bretonnia.
So that we can open up a farm slot. And then we're going to delete this, add a farm in here.
Who wishes the grail?
And just kind of chill for the first few turns, which sucks, but we can just flip through the end turn timer anyways. While we're powering up, because we're going to have a hard time against the Beastmen until we power up just a little bit. We're not going to be able to siege a major capital like Skaven Blight, or possibly even Magrita, unless we have Battle Pilgrims early on, because these guys are just not, they're just not going to cut it. And we need some levels, too.
Ever ready.
Especially with the nerf to magic, you just don't have as much of an advantage in the early game. So, you know, it's a little annoying, but overall, it doesn't matter that much. They increased the end turn timer, or they increased how fast it goes, so you can fly through that end turn timer really quickly. So it's not as much of an annoyance as it used to be. But yeah, it's kind of a unique starting place in the sense that, like, you really don't have someone that you can, like, early aggress on other than the greenskins, which is kind of a dead end. So we'll do only faction-wide caps, which I think is fun.
Fay Enchantress.
Okay. Then we're just going to throw down a farm. Now, we're going to sell this farm here in a few turns, but it is going to give us some more growth and some money for a little bit. We will sell that eventually. Oh, we still have room for one more. Okay, I guess we can... We probably just get rid of all these peasant mobs, honestly. But we are going to replace these anyways with the Grail, the Battle Pilgrims, so there's really not, like, a huge point in doing any more with that. Okay, so we're going to go for Crusade here. So we have that movement. We're going to hang out just in this range. We could go, you know, try to do something cute like raid this property, but it's going to cost us chivalry, and we're just not going to gain a lot out of it, so... You know, I always start getting antsy whenever I'm not doing anything on a turn. I feel like I should just be trying to dominate as hard as possible, but...
Welcome, friends.
Take a breath, chill for a few turns here, and just let it set up. The Beastmen will come over here eventually.
Feel the mighty Deepwood welcomes you beneath its boa. I will.
Let's see if we can grab a little money off these guys.
You have been granted access to the halls of Athelloren. As you say.
Now, if Paravon declares war on me, they're not going to like that I'm broing up with the elves. But if they declare war on me, I think that's okay. I just can't declare war on them. Okay, so we're in Crusade Stance. So it takes all of your movement for one turn to get into this stance, but then after that, you can permanently move 25% faster until you occupy a town. So, obviously a pretty big buff. Okay. It lowers your defense on your foot soldiers a little bit, but it gives everybody 5 leadership, and it lowers your, or it increases your melee attack on your cavalry. Okay, so Khosric is hiding on our property somewhere. He's not raiding yet, though. If he raids, we'll go down there and smack him. He can't handle these Grail Knights and all this magic that we have early on. Yeah, we'll allow the Beastmen.
You seek prophecy.
Okay, so he's around here somewhere. We don't know where he is yet, so we'll just hang out. And I think just getting the money is better. We could get a little bit more growth. Is that going to make a big difference? So we could get 10 more growth starting next turn, but it's going to be 2 turns anyways to upgrade that.
Who wishes the Grail?
All right. So it is going to be a lot of fighting, auto-resolving, stuff like that in the first couple of turns. We might get a fight against the Beastmen here. Okay. Rumors are false. We'll let Empire fight it out if they want to. So extra armor, tribute, chivalry. Okay, Khosric. Minotaurs are a little spooky, but we don't have a lot of spears. We do have a couple. So we could probably bust up those Minotaurs, but...
Fay Enchantress.
I kind of want to make sure that I kill him first, because I can wait on this guy if I have to.
I protect Bretonnia.
We should have enough movement to kill them all, but...
Winds, rise!
Let's see if anyone will pay us to go to war with him. These guys might. Elves are usually kind of rich.
Come. The beauty of Athelloren is seldom seen by outsiders.
So if you're ever going to declare war, you always want to check and see if someone will pay you for that.
Preposterous. Indeed.
Yes.
Okay, it says it's 50-50. Hell, we'll just fight it. I mean, if we auto-resolved it, it'd probably be fine. And because we have so much replenishment anyways. If you keep your peasants within line, if you don't go into peasant penalty, I don't remember what the penalty is if you go, if you use more peasants. You can go over the cap, so it's a soft cap of like 15 right now on the peasants. If you go over, it starts to add up. I don't think it's a lot early on if you go a little bit over. But if you stay within your peasant cap, you get an extra 25% replenishment on the peasants. Okay, so this, you can give one person 40 extra melee attack. You can guess who I'm going to put that on. And then she has a little bit of magic, although we don't have a ton early on. And she's got the Blessing of the Fay. Okay, we'll start deployment. Okay, so we have Wind Blast and Convergence. That Convergence did not get nerfed that hard with the magic nerf. It used to be 5, now it's 7. There have been some things, like some of the Vortex spells have been nerfed by like 7 or 8 like extra magic points on this patch. So you really got to watch out for that. Now, fortunately, she is a combination of life magic and so the life magic's still okay. I mean, the 7 heal is like all right on large knight units, especially that have a lot of armor. You get a lot more value out of healing. I talk about this all the time in League of Legends in terms of supports, but it's that way in this game too. When you have any sort of healing magic, if you use a heal on somebody that has a lot of resilience, a lot of armor, a lot of HP, and things, especially armor, then you're going to get a lot more value out of it.
Blessed field Trebuchet!
Okay, so the only thing I'm really scared about is Khosric himself.
Spearmen at arms!
And
What orders?
the Minotaurs. Everything else should just get crushed, hopefully. We'll see. So he could do Awakening the Wood. I think Harmonic Convergence is something I'm most interested in, though. And then the Beast has this Wild Form, which is pretty good. They did buff the time on that, actually, to 35 seconds. It used to only be 25 seconds. That's a pretty dang good buff. The 30 armor and weapon damage is really nice. And you can overcast it, I think, for like maybe 12 to affect your entire squad for 35 seconds. So
Pilgrims!
I think that Beast Magic and Life Magic are 2 of the better schools of magic after all the nerfs to some of the other ones.
Battle Pilgrims!
Okay. And this Blessed Field Trebuchet is pretty sweet too.
Infantry!
We want to be open field here if we can.
Run!
Forthwith!
Blessed field Trebuchet! Battle Pilgrims!
So our front line is a little suspect here.
Swiftly! At once! My lord!
They literally just gonna sit there and just force me to
Stir
walk
your
up.
stumps! At once!
That's what it's looking
Quick
like.
now!
With haste.
Just speed this along here. Don't want to be too close to that hill. I don't want them to get any sort of charge bonuses on us.
Blessed field Trebuchet! Grail Guardians! Run! Battle Pilgrims!
Okay, so they should start coming towards us once we start firing on them. I mean, if they'll just let us empty the clip, I'm cool with that too. The trebuchets, especially the field trebuchets, the blessed ones, are really good. They actually have a trait where they're like enchanted attacks or something like that, and there's no friendly fire. So you can actually fire them into your own infantry, no problem. Yeah, y'all gotta come to me. I'm not walking up that hill.
Priestess of the Lady!
So we don't have Flock of Doom, which did get nerfed, but is still pretty good.
War machines! Release!
Okay,
Spearmen
move these
at
spearmen over
arms!
here.
Aye! Serve and obey!
Full tilt! Understood. At speed! Bound by honor! Take the ground!
Peasant bowmen! Loose!
Grail Guardians! On to glory!
Crush them all!
What do you bid?
For the lady! Honor the lady!
Quickly! Bretonnia!
Spearmen at arms! Come on, lads! For the lady!
Charge!
Sure, if they want to...
We are ready! Launch!
Enchantress! Flow forth, Gairan!
For the lady! For the Grail!
Sorceress! At once! Power of light!
Kill him! God help us! Battle pilgrims!
Hurry!
Aye!
Forthwith!
Knocked and ready! Quick now! Spearmen at arms! Come on, lads! Peasant bowmen! Fighters!
I am the Fay.
Yes, these things are barely scratched.
Peasant bowmen! Flatten them!
For my liege!
We serve the king!
Fay Enchantress.
Peasant bowmen!
Show us the foe!
Ready for battle! Leg it! We serve the king! Loose! By the lady! To war!
Morgiana. Send them below!
Run them through!
Those dudes might be able to do a little damage, but probably not that much.
Spearmen at arms! Get him! Bows drawn! Withdraw! Attack! Peasant bowmen! Run, men! 'Tis an honor! Yes! Quick march!
We serve the lady!
Ready for battle! For the king!
It shall be done!
Jeez, they have... I forgot they had yellow shields. Okay, let's take them out of that.
Honor my vow!
So now they can move a bit faster. Let's make sure we go kill Kozric here.
Oh, Bretonnia!
Blessed field Trebuchet!
He moves pretty quick. I don't think there's any way I can really, No, maybe. Maybe, okay, she ran him down and killed him. Alright, Fay Enchantress, I see you. So she's not that great in melee combat. She has very low armor, almost no health. But whenever she auto-attacks, she does, like, some AoE damage to people over time. Little dot damage. With that Lady of the Mist. And lowers melee attack. So you want her in combat, so that you get that buff. But you want her, like, hanging out at the very end, you know, where she's, like, barely getting touched. Yeah, it's pretty much the Minotaurs and Kozric, like I said. Those are the main threats there. And you saw these guys are just face tanking, you know, just endless hordes of, like, tier 1 infantry. These guys are super cheap, but they're almost just not even worth the peasant slot. I don't think. Like, they are just like some bodies you can throw in there, but. So like here you can do -5 chivalry to take 1,000 gold, which I think, I don't know the exact what's worth in terms of calculations, but I think if you get 200 gold for 1 chivalry, especially early on in the game, it's probably worth. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That does hurt you a little bit diplomatically.
My journey continues.
Okay, nice. So we get ambush defense, line of sight is really good, and fear. We already caused fear. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so we want Awakening the Wood. Well, probably Root Marcher. Inspiring Presence. Eventually, we do want to get to Awakening the Wood. And just Life Bloom, Earth Blood combo. It's historically really good. Flesh to Stone can be good. They nerfed this a lot, so it's, you know, a lot more expensive than it used to be with the 14. But she does have War Master of Life, which reduces the cost. I guess that's only for Regrowth, Shield of Thorns, and Dwellers. But you still want to go up the tree to get those. And then she has something over here where all War of Life is -25%. So she gets like a couple of big bonuses to War of Life. So you do want to get some points in that. Other things that could be useful, Secrets of the Grail, -20% for Battle Pilgrims. It's very good, especially against Beast Magic when they'll be like casting Flock of Doom on you a lot, or crap, I forgot the other Beastmen thing that's like a point click, Devolve. So that can be pretty good against your or if they're using that stuff on you. This gives plus 75% charge bonus for Battle Pilgrims, which they have 20, so that'll take them up to like a 35 charge bonus, which is okay. But yeah, she has a lot of nice magic stuff, so you do want to get some in magic. The blue tree down here is pretty bad, honestly. They don't have anything that lowers the upkeep of all your units, so they don't have Renowned and Feared or whatever, the 15% upkeep reduction that most factions have. They do have Lightning Strike, which is really good. We might push for that later, but all of these are pretty bad. It's like just local region stuff. Campaign Line of Sight, Attrition, during a siege only, Growth. This is 8% for non-knight units, but your knight units are your most expensive things, obviously. So yeah, the blue tree is not that great, whereas with most factions on Legendary, you need to go through the blue tree. And frankly, the red tree is not that great either. It's okay. Like, we're going to be rushing this Worshippers of the Grail. So the 8 melee attack and 12 armor for the Battle Pilgrims, which we're going to be getting. And then later on, if we want to upgrade those to Foot Squires, we can get some of those as well. If you're not going for my strategy that I'm doing, if you're going to be getting more like Men-at-Arms with the Spearmen and the Halberd Men-at-Arms, you want to go for that instead of the Battle Pilgrims package, then... which is reasonable, especially if you're going to be fighting Bretonnians, because those halberds are a big deal, but because you get a huge penalty to fight Bretonnians, we're probably not going to be fighting Bretonnians early on, so that can be good. The archers are okay, the reload reduction and ammunition. The problem is, like, your archers are pretty, like, not that great to begin with, so they're okay, but they're not amazing. So that's like really good with the high elves that we're doing right now, where they have something that's similar with ammo and reload time on their archers, but their archers are way stronger. The Trebuchet thing can be alright. The Trebuchets are actually pretty good if you want to spec into those early on. That's respectable. The charge bonus on your late game stuff, they're already really fast, so that's pretty anemic. It's not really that amazing. This right here is pretty good. The weapon strength on your knights and things like that, it's pretty good. And then these are once you get your stuff to a high level, these are pretty good. So the Battle Pilgrims getting physical resist and armor are good. The leadership doesn't matter, they're unbreakable, but that's pretty legit. Some of your knights getting a little armor and defense is pretty good. Your super elite stuff getting 5 melee attack, weapon strength, and ward save is all very nice. So, and she does have a buff here, Lionhearted, which gives a cooldown to your Stand Your Ground by 50%, so you can cast it every 45 seconds. That's going to be really good later in the game. But she does have a lot of good magic stuff, too. So she's got your standard life magic package with Arcane Conduit. She can also go into Heavens, which is one of the better schools of magic now. That's what we're doing in our High Elf campaign. Is that Harmonic Convergence is still relatively cheap. It's pretty strong, even though it's single target. Curse of Midnight Wind is very good. 20 is expensive, but a 50-second debuff that's that huge is pretty handy. And then this is one of the best Vortex spells in the game now. It's because it only costs 21 versus a lot of the Vortex spells are going to cost upwards of close to 30, which is pretty insane. However, you do have Dwellers from Below, which, as you can see, costs 32, but I think that's only if it's upgraded. I think if you don't upgrade it, it still is somewhere close to 20, and you get all the bonuses here to it. So the Great Time Negation minus 25% to all spells is pretty good. So Chain Lightning, Time Negation, those are solid. This stuff is Curse of Midnight Wind can be good sometimes, but the other things here are pretty trash. You don't have to get Evasion to get to these. That's pretty nice. Evasion's usually just kind of a wasted skill on most sorcerers. And Roiling Sky is pretty bad versus Life Bloom is pretty good. So we'll probably go through the magic tree first. All right, we're gonna go with these things first. Okay, and then with her, Beast Magic is still pretty good. Flock of Doom, they nerfed quite a bit. It's 22. It does get... I thought it got reduced to 20. Starts at 24, goes down to 22. So they nerfed the crap out of this. This was like 15, I think. And it was really, really strong at 15, so... fair enough. But Wild Heart does increase your damage and your extra power reserves for a little bit. And then I think this is like still okay. Get it for 21 to summon a Manticore is decent. And then the power reserves, but we'll probably still use Flock of Doom. Now this is what I was talking about that still is pretty good. This is 35 seconds of plus 30 armor, 30% weapon damage. So that's respectable. But we'll probably still look at Flock of Doom. Just because the range on that is so nice. That's the thing, is it can't miss and it has 300 range. So it still is pretty good even after the nerfs. Okay, let's go finish this dude off, and then I think we'll have enough movement to still get the other guy. Yeah. Okay. I don't think that's worth, so we're just gonna execute him. Scroll of Stone, sure. We'll look on time. Trying to keep these to 45 minutes to an hour if we can. Okay, I think we barely have enough to get them, and they shouldn't be able to run.
Fay Enchantress.
Okay, with that, and then we could go ahead and get Worshippers of the Grail, but it's not really going to do anything for us yet. Basic training is nice. The vigor loss reduction is very good. But I think we might just try to get into the magic tree early on if we can, so...
I am the Fay.
We have so much replenishment anyways that we don't need to fight that. There's no way they have a prayer of winning that. Okay. So it sucks we're not getting the money off of these, but we do get to keep the chivalry, which is useful down the line. We do still get the money from winning the battle, but it's not a lot. There's going to be another rebellion next turn.
I protect Bretonnia.
Okay, so we're just gonna go Blood, Life Bloom. Wild Heart, Evasion. Yep, gonna be that Rebellion. And we're gonna get some growth the turn after that. So we're gonna go ahead, I believe, yeah, we have enough. So we're kind of over on the growth right now. Construction cost reduction. And I think, how much do these fields cost? I think they're 1,000. So we could go ahead. I think we're gonna wait though. How many turns is this to upgrade? It's like 4. Okay. So we can wait. So we'll keep the fields and all that stuff, and then eventually we will delete it, and then we're gonna put in the Grail Shrine, which takes 2 turns. So we can wait 1 more turn. Although maybe we should just go ahead and do it next turn while we have the construction reduction. Okay, we'll do that. Well, we need to go ahead and sell one of these. We're gonna do it. So maybe this does allow us to hire peasant bowmen if we want to, actually, which is kind of nice. Or do I just greed out? Saving the 10% on building this is 200 gold. Oh, and we do need to build these too. Are you sparing her? So we do need to ideally have this done before we go into this. Because we'll be able to get Knights Errant. I don't know if we're going to be able to get more Knights of the Realm. We may not even need many of these Knights, honestly. Early on, the Battle Pilgrims might be enough with our Grail Knights. This is good, but you can wait on that a little bit. It's kind of expensive. I'm trying to think if... I guess we can just wait. Okay. Else... Yeah, they like that we're killing Beastmen.
To Fay Bretonnia.
Fine. Sure.
It's done.
Now we get a trade agreement? No. I think they like that we're killing Beastmen. I guess they don't really care that much.
Protector of the realm.
Kislev. In the north, we have cold hearts and heads.
Yes, come. The beauty of
Listen to my daughter
Avalon
trying to
is
reason,
seldom
or
seen
my
by
wife trying to reason with my
outsiders.
daughter in there. We gotta be careful with that, because if someone, like, if one of the Bretonians declares war, I guess we already have a defensive alliance, so
Lord
that
of the
boat's
Glade, I
already
have
sailed,
heard
but...
much of Bretonnia knights and their chivalry. Imprudent.
King, I am drawn to the nobility of your cause. No.
I think that's it. So where's people we can sweet talk?
Honor
Let's see if
before
they'll just give us
Lady
money.
grants you
Sometimes
safe
if you have really good
passage in
relations, they'll
Islam.
just sling in
Impudent
300
wealth.
gold. Okay. Okay, so I guess we'll just greed out and hold on to this money for now. And then maybe we just do the Battle Pilgrims thing. We may not even need the Knights for the kind of stuff. Obviously, you want to try to hold on as long as you can.
Your will?
But yeah, here's this. So you get the minus 25% upkeep, and then you get casualty replenishment for non-knight units and all that. So, peasant mob and upkeep reduction also. So you really want to stay under that penalty. Yeah, obviously we want to hold on to those money buildings as much as we can. Pretty much any sort of strategic game, if you can do more with less resources, pretty much any game, or just life in general, if you can do more with less resources, that's a good thing most of the time. Or if you can do the same thing with less resources, do it. So if we don't have to hire those knights to win these battles, and we can greed and get away with running those money buildings instead, you know, we want to try to do that. Okay, Beastmen are done. Wow, they lost the fight against Bilbali. How did they hold this? Tier 1. What a bunch of heroes. Okay. Stability, I don't like that because I want to keep fighting these rebellions for a little bit.
Come forth. Traveling the land.
Okay. You can just exit out of the fights if you're trying to flash through quickly, because it'll tell you any items that you get afterwards anyways. It kind of tells you 2 or 3 times that you got items. The Warhorse can be good, just for repositioning, but I'm not going to waste a point on it if I can help it. Okay, Magical Reserves is the biggest thing, and then this transformation. Alright, so Beastmen are dead. I guess there's nothing else that could come for us other than Skaven.
Through forest and glade.
Still gonna be like 26 turns on this. Upkeep reduction. We do want more growth. Like, getting up to tier 4 would be real handy. Like, we could get these Blessed Trebuchets, which are, like, really good. Like, these actually do more baseline damage, but these, because there's no friendly fire with them, is pretty handy. And they have this, lowering magic damage, or miscast. Yeah, lower magic resist and physical resist. 29 ammo versus 26 ammo, 450 range versus 450, so they're pretty close, but armor piercing missiles is good too. But then that will give us Pegasus Knights, Foot Squires. There's a lot of good stuff at tier 4, so I think we just go for the growth. I don't know, the research rate is handy, but the 25 growth is pretty legit too. Such a crappy little town though, and we want this to tier 3. You do get free walls on any tier 3 town, so that is amazing. You don't have to use a building slot for that, and they have really good money buildings. I can put another industry building there. So the Bretonnians probably have the best economy in the game, or pretty close to it.
Valiant Lord, welcome, friends.
We want to get as many treaties as we can with, particularly the Legendary Lord people.
Armored in faith.
The lady grants you safe
It'd be nice if I
passage
could
in
spot
these lands.
Rapance down there. Now, I don't know if I can confederate with Rapance now that I didn't turn on the DLC. I didn't think that one through all the way, but whatever, it's fine.
Lord, my lady welcomes the brave knights of Bretonnia to our home.
I guess we'll take
What
it.
do you
That's
wish
fine.
to
They're already at
discuss?
war with Paravon, so let's go for that money.
Yes.
Give us vision of the area. Problem with going south too, if you try to go and fight your way through all this, you can't occupy Skavenblight. Good luck sieging Moraliano with peasant mobs. That's one of the toughest sieges in the game. It gets a lot of bonuses. And then we can't occupy the mountain stuff, like we get a penalty in the mountains. It's just, I don't know. We can't occupy any of the Badlands. They're all yellow, I think, for us, so just not a lot to be gained from that, I don't think.
I protect Bretonnia.
Okay, so we've got that going on. I think. Yeah, we'll just switch over to the research rate. Well, yeah, the growth and replenishment, I guess, is fine. So we gotta find something else to do for a little bit. I mean, we can go kill the, go kill those greenskins in a bit if we want to. Sure.
Lord, welcome to fair Bretonnia.
We are trending up, right? Yeah, a little bit.
No.
So I don't know how they're gonna do it. Do we see Kothic? I mean, I literally see him on the map right now, but I don't know if it's officially let us see him. I mean, one thing I could do also is just fly out.
I have heard much of Bretonnian knights and their chivalry.
If you wish.
I mean, we could go hunt down the Dread Fleet. All of this is yellow, so we'd have a hard time taking over. Income from all buildings are lower. Construction time is higher. Construction cost is also higher. Then we could try to take over Ulthuan and fight the High Elves if we really wanted to, but I think you just gotta chill. Like I said, have a little patience. We did get one good fight here in the first episode, which is good. I think just chilling is probably a thing that we want to be doing. Okay, so we want to get this Grail Shrine, though, so we need to delete one of these. I guess this does give us growth, though, even though it's costing us things. I guess we probably want the growth. Let's just get rid of that. So we can get these battle pilgrims on time. So it's going to take 2 turns to build this.
What do you seek?
Once we do confederate, we can still go kill Histalia
Fay
if we want to.
Enchantress
I
of
mean,
Bretonnia.
we can go south and do that route and grab that coastal area. If we want to, we just need tougher units. We need battle pilgrims to do that. To siege Moraliano and kill the Skaven, most likely.
Those seeking my counsel usually kneel.
Military access. Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I am Morgiana, Fay Enchantress of Bretonnia.
Defensive alliance, 200. I think they'll pay me more than that. But yeah, like I said, probably going up and murdering Norskins pretty soon. But we've got to get... It's going to be a little bit because we have to
Enchantress.
deal with Leon Core.
Witness her power.
Yep.
Onwards in her name.
Okay, so we finished our vow. Tax rate, that's pretty good actually.
You seek prophecy.
It's
Going
annoying that
forth.
it's 2 turns instead of every turn there's a rebellion, but... Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get Worshippers of the Grail because that's going to come online soon. Silver on is good, a little bit. It doesn't matter a ton. It doesn't give a lot of extra armor, it gives some extra health. It does give speed. Okay, we're going to go Worshippers of the Grail though. With her, Kadan. We need to try to get over to Arcane Conduit soon. She's actually a higher level than the Fay How does that work? I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and build. What are we at? We're at 57 minutes. Okay. Grail Shrine. We had a couple more turns. Now we can run up here and try to kill them here in a little bit too.
I protect Bretonnia.
Protector of the laws of chivalry demand I hear you. Peasants work.
Valiant.
The lady grants you safe passage.
I will not.
We don't have any trade agreements, so there's not any point in like building that
Welcome
Cinnabar
to
or whatever
Kislev.
thing.
Kislev.
That resource building.
Yes?
Could kill them. I mean, they do have a building that's nice, and they do have wine, which is really nice, so we could potentially kill them, so I'm going to hold off on that. Are they... Okay, they're not military allied with Talia, but we could kill them too. Let me check. We should have that vow unlocked. It didn't give us a notification, but... Oh, we have to level up 5 times, so not be level 5, but literally level up 5 times, so you have to be level 6. Okay. So do we use our 2 growth to level up Brion? I think so. That's going to protect it in case like the Dread Fleet tries to backdoor us or something and just tries to hit Brion early on.
The lady grants you her blessings. And
All right, what do you want? How about let's get rid of that. I don't know how we see stuff like this, Crocodrock. It's like, hey, we spotted out this thing on the other side of the world. We do get extra vision off of some different buffs. Okay. What else?
Honor before. Welcome to
Check
fair
the-
Bretonnia. Now is the time. I must decline.
Croc Drock.
Yes. My throng stands ready. Begone.
Kislev.
Yeah,
Welcome
they just
to
don't care about us. They're not moving. Now, these guys could go to war with each other, so that could be a little awkward if I have military alliances with all of them, but
You called?
they give us some money. I think it's a little greedy to ask for that. Okay, so do we have the building one? We need... Okay, construction costs. And then next turn, we're going to build this, and then we'll start building out our horses. Next turn also. I mean, that is tempting, but I just don't think we need that right now. I'd much rather have some of the horses. She trolling you? Alright, we can wait till next turn and save some money on that.
Wishes the Grail.
She's getting... Bah. She's getting violent. Can we recruit? Can we recruit in this stance? But there's no reason to recruit, remember? Because we're going to use battle pilgrims anyways. We're going to delete a lot of these. We'll probably keep the 2 spearmen and then get rid of these 3 and crank up the battle pilgrims.
You seek the lady?
Okay.
I hear the winds.
We haven't spotted Leoness yet, but we do want to get them. You actually get like a bonus whenever you confederate with Bretonnians, oddly enough. With most factions you get a penalty, but with Bretonnians you get a bonus.
Dark are these times, and dark my mood.
Declared war. Calling our allies to help. Sure. Come get it. So I know there's been a lot of just like next turn, next turn, next turn here to start with, which once again is not my favorite, but you just don't have a lot of good options for people to fight that are like winnable fights early on. If you try to go north also, the Beastmen or the Skaven will start backdooring your towns too, which is annoying. Okay. But that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much. We'll do one more episode, probably of maybe like half the episode doing this. And then once we load up some battle pilgrims, we'll come up here, kill the greenskins. And then we'll see after that. We might come down here and try to get these guys. They probably have a pretty decent little army. It's still a tier 2 town though. But either way, we'll make a move on them. Over the next couple of episodes, so okay, but that's gonna be it. Thank you very much for watching. Special thanks to hang on, I've got it blocked out here. Wes, sorry. I got my list over here on the side here. Special thanks to Wes for sponsoring this campaign. Anyone else that would like to sponsor a campaign, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. We can set that up. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Have a great day.